Hey guys, Zaki Mohammed here, and this session is all about Vite for TypeScript. I especially want to thank Geekle to provide me an opportunity to take session on this topic, which is a very buzzword right now. And let's understand how Vite can be helping us to develop TypeScript application and our TypeScript journey is more smoother. So before we begin, I just want to introduce myself. I am Zaki Mohammed. I am consultant at Microsoft. I'm a blogger and I'm a developer since 8 years now. And I've been proficient with technologies like backend and frontend, and I've been got a chance to work on cloud also. So let's get started. Today's agenda will talk about the introduction, and then we'll move to the directly to the coding part of it, and then we'll end up with the Q&A session. So before we begin, I just want to highlight my Code Omelette blog. You guys can check it out. It's a coding blog for different technological aspects like C Sharp, Angular, TypeScript, etc. So there is no consistency of it. I post whatever I learned across my journey, and I surely encourage you to please check it out. It will surely help me. Now, coming back to the topic, we'll start with the introduction for Vite. We'll talk about what is Vite basically and why we required it and how it is helping TypeScript to uh, how it's going to help us while we write the TypeScript code, right? So Vite for TypeScript, that's what we are looking for. So what is Vite? Let's answer this question. So it's a build tool that provides a faster and leaner development experience for modern web app project. Okay, so now if more or less, if you just want to summarize it, it's a basically a development server. Okay, so while we develop a front-end application or any modern project, real like React, Vue, or Angular, we use Vite so that the development time becomes very faster. So the server starting time and the time to actually see the implemented code on the browser will become way too less. Okay, so right now if I talk about the current scenarios, if we don't use Vite, we are going, let's say for React, we are going for create React app, and that is using back in the background the webpack bundlers to bundle the code to serve it to the browser. Okay, so Vite doesn't do all of these things. Vite have its own ideology to we that we have to explore how it is becoming such fast build tool. Okay, so Vite is a French word that is just defining as a fast. Okay, it's just meaning of fast. It comes with a lot of rich features like instant server start. That is the main selling point they are doing highlighting right now. So if you just talk about any vanilla application, it is within 500 ms range also. So the server instantly got start just like any HTML page you open, double click on the browser, just like that. It is like it uses lightning fast HMR, that is hot module replacement. So most of the bundlers now started using this, but Vite is using at a very huge level. And the change you will going to see from your bare eyes that it is really an improvement. Then it is having a lot of rich features, like it is understanding directly the TypeScript inclusion to the actual network tab, and like the actual TypeScript file is loaded to the browser. It's not like it is understandable to the browser, but yeah, it is transpiled to it at runtime, and even JSX support is there, CSS support is there. So many out of the box things are happening with these features. There is optimized build bundling happening, and then there are many typed based APIs, so it is supporting TypeScript also in the background. Okay, so there's a lot of features that you can explore, and let's move on. So why Vite? Okay, so that's a question. So if let's say if you are talking about the in terms of TypeScript, so it will going to surely help us because Vite will be immediate server that will be started. And let's say if we want to explore the TypeScript behavior on the browser, we can use Vite to do our development in a quick way. Okay, so let's talk about the background of it. Okay, how it is working and why it is so becoming popular, right? So if we compare it with the traditional bundling approaches. Okay, so let's say parcel, webpack, and roll up anything else. So here we are having a pre-bundling strategy. We bundle the things everything beforehand, and then we are serving the bundled application to the browser. Means then at that time we become server ready. So let's say when you do at any point of time npm start, so at that time entire bundling happens, and then your application available become available to the browser, right? Every time, let's say if I just update the semicolon or if I do some logical changes on the file, any file, so the entire project get rebundled. So if your application is just started and having very lesser module components routes, then it is very quick. But as soon as the application grows, this bundling process will become really hectic and very big. Okay, because you can imagine, like, even though the bundle, the module that is not belongs to you is also get affected. Okay, so that is a, we can say, eager crawling, I can say, a preloading strategy, while Vite is providing a on-demand strategy. Okay, means nothing is pre-bundled, so you are immediately getting the server ready. Means whenever you do npm start, you will immediately get the starting of your server. Okay, so if your folks are just starting with the TypeScript and having no idea of the npm and bundling thing, then this might little not understandable part. But yeah, so that if you so once you understand the basic flow of npm packages and all, so you will get the idea of this also. So here what Vite is offering is on-demand loading. Okay, so it is not doing any bundling while your dev server is running. So it is fully using the features of native ESM, that is native ECMAScript modules. Okay, so here what happening, the server gets immediately started. Now what server will going to run, because everything is now TypeScript based, or TypeScript can't be run on the browser, right? It's TypeScript files. So what it does, it basically transpiles those files, those are required, and the things those are visible right now on the screen, only those things will be uh, compiled. Okay, not the entire project. So only those files will be transpiled, it renders and is displays on the screen. So let's say a route will be rendered, and modules those are related to those routes will be rendered, not the entire application. And everything will be loaded on demand and not loaded on demand. Let's say I don't want, I am on the login page, I will only require the login components, so that time login components will be loaded. Okay, it's that simple. Now, how it is doing this, bringing on the demand files, is through the HTTP request. Basically, network calls happen from the browser, and the browsers now helps you to do the bundling. So it seems like the browser is doing the taking a job of a bundler. Okay, but yeah, it's basically a HTTP request to get the necessary file and load it while you are develop an application. So this diagram is an official diagram which is there on the Vite website also. Just a tabular comparison, I just kept it over here. So in a traditional bundlers, so we are doing the bundling of the script styles and images and etc. Beforehand, while here we serve them directly. Okay, here it is obviously a slow start, that is eager crawling, while here it is on demand and the fast pace we can see. Okay, then slow updates, rebuilds bundle, means whenever we do some changes, the entire bundle entire project will be rebundled. Okay, here using HMR native SMs, we are actually not rebundling the entire application. So here we are not bashing about the webpack bundlers and bundlers in general. We are just focusing on the Vite, what it is actually offering. Okay, moving forward, now how we can use this utility of Vite for TypeScript. Okay, so there is an option, and there is a huge opportunity that we can go for Vite. And while we are understanding TypeScript and we are developing any TypeScript based application, let's say if it is in React or Angular, nothing else, even with the vanilla TypeScript you can use Vite. Okay, so let's say you just started with the TypeScript, so you can if you want to create a full-fledged JavaScript based application without any framework, without nothing else, so you can go for Vite, and you can create a vanilla TypeScript application where you can learn TypeScript plus you can learn the basic JavaScript development also. Okay, so moving forward, here you can see Vite for TypeScript benefits. Okay, so obviously if you are doing a TypeScript based development, you get the type safety, fast development experience because of Vite, quick debugging. There are debugging options also available, I'll show you in a while. No hustle with modules. Now if you have tried to load TypeScript modules directly in the browser and the HTML pages, it have a lot of problems. Okay, it need to be bundled properly, so you might have to end up with any Webpack bundler or any rollup or something like that. Okay, so that your imports become smooth without any hassle. And then power of importing .ts file. So you get the benefits of importing the directly TS files in your code. Okay, so that's the beauty of it, that it will going to allow you, which I'll going to show you in a while. Okay, so the approach will be little different here. So let me just move forward now. Okay, so here I'll just going to directly jumpstart my application, where we will just going to see how we can create a basic kind of application from scratch using Vite and TypeScript. Okay, and then we'll explore more about the understanding of Vite, how it is working from the background. We'll even visit the website also. Okay, so let's get started with this. So there are some prerequisites before we begin. Okay, I just want to highlight them, and we can do the initial setup, run the application, debug, and build it. Okay, so let's get started with the prerequisite. So here, if you can see, we required Node.js. That is a must because we required a Node.js version of 14.8 plus or 16 plus. So make sure you have that. Otherwise, Vite will not work properly. Any version of TypeScript is fine. Vite obviously required, and VS Code is the ID that we're going to use it. Okay. So let's directly jump to the coding. I'll take a directory and I'll show you how we can get started. Okay. So this is an empty directory where from where we can get started. So I'll just open the CMD over here. Okay, so let's check first which node version we are actually having. Okay, so if I do this, so we are having 16.14.2 version. Okay, so we are okay with that, right? We already seen the requirement that it is having a requirement of using above 16 plus, right? So we are good. So let's do the command. Okay, so there is a command called npm create uh, Vite at the rate latest. We'll just do this much. Okay, I'll show you the official website also. Let me bring that on the screen so that we can understand like how it is offering and from where I am getting to this part. So if I go to the Vite website, so here it is. We can directly jump to the getting started part of it. So after explaining the things and all, here you can see npm create Vite latest. That's what we are doing. So let's try that. I'm entering this out now. So here, if you notice that we haven't given any application name, right? So let me give a Vite app. Okay. And here you can see a bunch of framework selection options is provided. Okay, so we are going with the vanilla. You can even go with the React and Servlet or Vue also. So I'm going with the vanilla and I'm choosing TypeScript over here. So that is a out of box TypeScript support given just to a starter application. I'm entering this. Now you can see bunch of useful commands mentioned already over here. So here it is providing first option to go with the within the Vite app directory, then doing the npm install and then npm run dev. You can notice that this happens very quickly, right? And if you go if you see this option is also even provided, and you can see the further commands are there. So this operation was really very quick. We'll understand why it is this much quick, but let's go first inside this directory. Okay, and also if I just open the directory and if I just check what kind of folders things are happening over here, so you can notice that bunch of files are created but there is no modules, node modules not nowhere to be found, right? So what is happening, it is understanding the behavior of like normally what other package managers does when they create the project or create the folder. It immediately directly goes to install the npm modules also. Here it is leaving that opportunity to us, so you can now do npm I. It is creating the package.json file, but it is not doing the node module installation. It is leaving that to us. Okay, so now you can install it from your end. Okay, then there is a last command that is npm run dev. So let's directly run this and we'll see on the browser like what happens. So I'll just grab this command meanwhile it is getting installed. Done. Let me just paste this command. I'm running this. Okay, you can see that it is ready. It got ready within 366 ms. Okay, within a millisecond, right? And you can see the port here. It is actually getting executed. So if I just open this port on the browser, you can see our actually working project over here, which is developed based using Vite and TypeScript. And there is a button also that is just a counter button. I just increment that so it will be working. So if I just right click and inspect the element, I'll show you like what we were talking about. So if you go to the network tab, just refresh this, select fetch xhr or any all option also, it's fine. So you can see that even TypeScript getting loaded over here. That is really amazing, right? That is not usually happen with the TypeScript. But if you notice that here, nothing like TypeScript is happening. Actually, JavaScript code is transpiled. So what is happening under the hood? It is actually transpiling to the JavaScript code. But here it is giving us the opportunity to loading everything as a network call, not while bundling. Okay, so at the development time, you get a lot of TypeScript file also in the network tab. So let's open this project in the Visual Studio Code and let's get started. I'm just opening this in a VS Code. So let me stop this. I'm going to the code. Cool. So let's talk about this. Now we have got the node modules. Now we have the package.json and there is a source folder available. Okay. And if I just go to the package.json, that is very important file right now. And if I go to this and here you can notice that there are a bunch of dev dependencies. Those are TypeScript and Vite. Okay, nothing else is got installed, and you are getting bunch of scripts. Okay, Vite and then later on these things. Okay, for build and preview. Fine. So that much for Vite. Okay, nothing else is added. Only two dependencies, and you are able to run your application. And other things are like index.html, tsconfig. So if you go to the tsconfig, a generic tsconfig is there, but with the configuration that supports bundling. Okay, so you can see bundler is open, isolated modules are also true, no emit is true, and there are linting support. There are setup of the source directory of it. This is the source directory, and there are some bunch of target that is pointing to ES 2020. Okay, so this much is there for tsconfig, and you can see an index.html file that is outside, and there is a div called app id with the id app, and there is you can notice that a direct TypeScript file inclusion in the body itself. There is no JavaScript sign of JavaScript, right? Because this is TypeScript based application. Now coming to this app main.ts file, we'll understand and explore like what kind of things are there. Okay, so if I go to this source folder and there is a main.ts file. If I expand this, you can see now there is a code written for style.css. And so even though it is a normal JavaScript based application, vanilla application, but it seems like it's a React application if you have already seen React app. So here you can see the TypeScript files are directly added. The images are also directly added to TypeScript file, while CSS is also added. So there is nothing like a link happening over here for the CSS. It is directly included to the TypeScript file. So that's amazing. That's how you actually develop that's bring you more closer to the framework level development, how what is happening in Angular, Vue, or React, right? So and obviously the TypeScript supports are everywhere you can see right now. So this is just a existing application which you can check and how it is built up, so that I am leaving up to you guys. You can explore it, but I'm just now removing every boilerplate code and we'll get started from the scratch. We'll develop something and we'll see how difficult it was to develop something from scratch for TypeScript. Okay, so let's give it a shot. I'm just removing everything and then later on we'll bring if required. I just go with the hello world approach like usually we do. And let me just remove everything from here. So this is all fine. I am removing the div tag also. And let me just remove the counter ts file also. So everything is gone, fine. So I'll come back to the browser and I just refresh this. I guess I have turned it off. So let me start it again in the terminal. I'll just do npm run dev. Okay. So this again start the server. I click on this one. We got the server running. Okay. Nothing is there because console log you have just done one thing. So let's see whether the console log is shown or not. So if I go to this, we are seeing our hello world over here. Cool. So that much it for just was the starter. And let's write something, build some application. So in the screenshot, I have just shown some application over here, right? So that application is just a factorial finder application, just to get started from somewhere, right? So for that, I'll go with the CSS library called Pico CSS just to do the basic. So I'm just removing everything from here from the style.css and I'm adding the Pico CSS over here on the style. Okay. Coming back to index.html, I am going with some boilerplate code for my UI. So bear with me. If you are already well versed with the HTML, you can easily understand. This is a very bare minimum code we have written. A form is there, a label is there, and a button, two buttons are there, and a hidden card is there, which is not shown, but it will be shown once the factorial is found. So if I come back to the screen, you can see this like this behavior because the style is not imported right in that main.ts. So you can do one thing, you can import the ts file directly like this. Okay, so just provide the path and just save this. And if you go to the this one, you can see the application is now behaving a little well, right? So that's it. You can even include the css also over here. Now let me just create one file for finding the factorial. So I'll name this file as factorial.ts. And I'll just grab one basic function that is written in the TypeScript format. You can see find factorial, we are passing a number to it, and then it is returning some number. Okay, so it's a recursive function. You can check it out. It's a basic function that will just do the job of finding the factorial. Okay, now let me just bring the boilerplate codes for this one, and we can read through it. Okay, so I'll get some of the bunch of the functions over here. So if you can see, there is a result, article, form, input. So we are just grabbing the input elements over here. Notice that in the query selector, we are mentioning the type of the control also, that this is an element, this is a form, this is input. So likewise, we can get the TypeScript support also. Okay. So, but before we just begin, I just want to show one thing, which is very important. Let's say if I am creating a flag variable called Boolean. Okay. And this Boolean variable is setting to true. There is no problem in this. If you go to the browser, it is all fine, all good, no problem. But let me just assign it to a string value. That is logically not allowed. In the IDE, it will give you an error, but on the browser, it is not giving any error. So is it that TypeScript not supported over here? No, it's not like that. By default, Vite doesn't do the type checking. It does the transpiling of your file, but it doesn't do the type checking. So in order to do the type checking, we have to install one more package that is provided from Vite. So let me install it. It's a package purposely created just to do the type checking, because they are removing the type checking from the normal process, because it will add up extra effort. So it is relying on the IDE or ES linters if you are using it. So they are upfront saying that use any IDE or use any ES linter to solve this problem. Otherwise, the Vite doesn't do the type checking. So if you want to do the type checking, you have to install this as a dev dependency. So we are installing Vite plugin checker, that is also as a dev dependency. Okay, so make sure you do that. Now, if once this is installed, we have to do one more file. We have to create one more file, which is called vite Okay, so let me just quickly add that. This need to be added on the root. Okay, this will be just a JavaScript file that is having this feature. I'm just pasting the code for just quick finish up of this session. So here you can see I'm importing the checker, and the checker function is called over here, and we are enabling the TypeScript. That's it. Now, if you just run the application like how it was running before, so let me just stop the server and let me get started with our npm run dev. So let's see whether now it is giving error on the browser also or not. Okay, so here ID is obviously giving the error, but not the browser. Okay, so the time little bit increased, but if I go to the go to browser now, let's see. Yep, we are getting the error, right? It is showing that this result is also not being used. This is not used, and there is a problem with the flag variable. It is not in a correct type safe format. Cool. So now it is giving the proper warning, and even for the warning also it is giving you error like. So nothing is tolerable, right? So let's get back to the code. I'll just complete this code. Like I'll just create bunch of uh, handlers, like let's say when user clicks on the find factorial button, there is a button. When user click on this one, we do need to do something, right? So let's create that handler. So I'm just creating two handlers over here on submit. So there is a method called on submit. So what we want basically, so if you can see the types in script essence is everywhere. So we want to get the value whatever inserted. We just check for the error checking. If it is not provided or something like that, we then do the find factorial function call, right? So let me just do this, import the factorial file, and that's it. And then we are removing the card and then showing the result. This is on submit. But yeah, let's grab the code for the event handler. So I have to attach this to some event handler. Okay, so now if I save this and I go to the browser, I'll just provide 5 and find factorial. It is giving me 120. Okay, so this is working fine. Cool, no issues in that. So if I even not provide anything, and if I do this, so it is giving me this one. But what I want, I just click on the reset. I want to reset the form, plus I want to get rid of this card also. So I'll just write a very basic handler for the reset button. So I go over here and I just paste this code. On reset, I just want to set the attribute to be hidden also, and the default functionality will be same. So I'll just grab the code over here, this much. So this is the code that we are looking for. The reset will also should also work. So if I go to this, and if I do 4 factorial is 24, and if I reset this, the card is also gone and this also got refreshed. So this much it for the development. Like we are getting a TypeScript support, we are now able to full-fledged develop something from scratch for the TypeScript, right? So that's how we do. And what left is about the debugging and the building part. Okay, so let me show it quickly. So let's say if I want to do the debugging for it, I want to see immediately run this, and I want to understand like how I can put a breakpoint or something like that, right? So you have to do one thing. You have to go simply to the IDE window called run debug, go to the debug URL. But before doing that, you make sure you change the port of your uh, serve when your file is actually got served. So make it 4000, and just go to this one, go to the debug URL, and provide your debug URL from here only. Let's say my debug URL will become HTTP 4000. Okay, so if I run this, you can grab the localhost from somewhere. Let me just quickly grab it from somewhere. No, I don't want to type it again and again. I'll grab it from somewhere and I just provide it to this debug URL. Okay, so I have provided the 4000 URL, and here it is showing me that make the launch JSON file also. So I'll just made it. So now if I run this, let me just put a breakpoint somewhere. Okay, I'm making a breakpoint over here. Okay, let me just restart this for now. Okay, I'll try to run this again. So this immediately starts a window, okay, for us. Okay, I don't know what happened. Okay, let me run. Sorry, I haven't run the terminal over here. So let me run an npm run dev. Okay, so now it will going to serve on port 4000. Let me start this also. Okay, your application is running. Let me just press 4 and find factorial. Now you got the debugger. Okay, now you're on this line and you can see bunch of variables on the left side also. Let me just do the F10. You can see the value which is coming as 4. So simple as that, you can do the debugging. Just provide the URL of yours and then it will start doing the debugging. Let's end this session with the build command that is there over here. Let me just run that. So right now we know that this is all good for the while we are developing the code on the dev environment, right? For the developers. Now let me just build this code how it looks like. So here there is a command called npm run build. It does the same thing. Now it uses the bundler. Okay, now it uses the roll up bundler that is there in the background, and it uses it to bundle the application. So here you can see this folder is generated, and they are providing one more feature that you can even preview this build version using the preview command. So if I just do this, my application is now running, and this application is the bundled application, not the one which is serving the TS file. So if I go to this network tab or something like this, and if I just refresh the code, here I'll get the JavaScript file, not the TS file. So this is how your application will look like on the production. Okay, so coming back to the slides, I am just wanted to wrap up this session, and you can see this commands I have already shared on the slides. You can check it out. All the necessary thing to run the application we require to do this, and run dev, and then debugging we require to add a VS Code launch file. That's it. And building application we have seen build and preview command, right? So I'm waiting for the Q&A, and I'm looking forward some good questions so that we can have an interactive session on this one, right? And just please consider following me on the on this channels, and hope you enjoy this session, and have a great day.